In today's video, we're talking about the Quartzsite Justice Court. The Quartzsite Justice Court is a misdemeanor court located here in Arizona. It is in Paz County. It's right on the border between Arizona and California on the west side of the state. And in today's video, we'll tell you a little bit more about the court itself. We'll talk about the court's jurisdiction. We'll tell you a little bit more about the prosecutors who are in charge of handling cases and representing the government at a Quartzsite. We'll tell you a little bit more about the judge herself. So let's dive into it. When we're talking about the court's jurisdiction, we're talking about the geographic area over which this court has power, has authority. It's called jurisdiction. If your criminal charge happened inside of this court's boundary, the court has power of it, meaning the geographic area. If it happened outside of that court's boundary, the court has no authority to hear it. And so it's important that you understand what the boundaries are, because if your case happened outside of the geographic boundary, but you got cited into this court, meaning an officer wrote you a citation or charged you with a crime and sent you into Quartzsite, the court really doesn't have any power over your case, and it should be ripe for a dismissal. So let's take a look at the court's jurisdiction so you can understand what it does cover and what it doesn't. If you look at a map, it looks like this. So we have the court's jurisdiction here highlighted in black, which is the actual boundary of the court's jurisdiction. And then highlighted in pink, you can see some of the major freeways that are running through there. You have the 60, you have the 72, you have a little bit of the 95 running northbound and southbound. But the big one, the main freeway that people get cited on, is the I-10 right there. You can see a big part of the I-10 coming from down central Phoenix all the way over into California is highlighted there. And a lot of people get stopped on that particular area of road. A lot of people are cited for crimes like criminal speeding, reckless driving. We see a lot of commercial violations. They're called CDL violations for commercial truckers who are passing through there. And then we also do see crimes like DUIs, where people will be having a good time. They'll be in California, they'll be drinking, they'll be driving back home or driving out to California, and police will stop them and they'll be cited for DUI or open container in a vehicle. So want to be cautious about those different offenses. The main police that we see patrolling this area are the DPS agents, so the Department of Public Safety, and occasionally we'll see the Paz County Sheriff's officers also stop people. So if you're cited for one of those offenses and you get charged with a crime, who takes the case? Who is representing the government? It's going to be the Paz County Attorney's Office. So Paz County is a smaller county. It's on sort of the western boundary of Arizona, and it doesn't have a huge prosecuting agency. So the prosecutors are a little bit, I would say, smaller and more focused on their particular jurisdiction. Some prosecutors will handle several jurisdictions. Some are kind of rotating around. It's not as huge of an agency, which is not a bad thing. That means that we have had the ability over the years to develop more of a one-on-one personal relationship with many of these prosecutors, and that helps us when we're trying to resolve cases. Now, that being said, they typically do have some pretty strict policies. And what I mean by a strict policy is that when you've got certain crimes that are over or outside of their policy, say for example a criminal speeding case where the speed is really fast, or a DUI case where the blood alcohol content is over a certain limit, they are going to follow their set in stone policies, which means they're not going to deviate down or reduce your case or give you a better deal or a better outcome. They're going to follow the policy that is set within their office. The reason why it's important that you know that is because if you've been charged with a crime, many times people will think that because this is their first offense or I've never been in trouble before, it should be pretty simple, right? I should be able to contact the judge, contact the prosecutor, and negotiate this case down or get a lesser sentence or get a better deal, when in reality, criminal law just often doesn't work that way. You need good legal cause. You need a good reason for the prosecutor to give you a better deal. It's called the deviation request. And really that's where defense attorneys come into play. What we do is we request every single shred of evidence that exists in the government's file, things like police reports, officers' notes, dash cam footage, body cam footage, GPS data, AVL data, all sorts of different things that we request. Then we can complete our interviews, and then we can identify good legal cause to get a better deal. So I want you to understand that's the kind of work that goes into it. It's not something that we just make a phone call and the case gets dropped down. It's why you need an experienced attorney if you're facing criminal charges out of La Paz and at a Quartzsite. So now that we know a little bit more about the court's jurisdiction and the prosecutors who are in charge, a little bit more about the judge. Her name is T.W. Carnevale. This judge has been around for a while, for a couple years as far as I can recall, in Quartzsite. Somebody who's not a licensed attorney in Arizona. We don't have a lot of face-to-face interaction with this judge because Quartzsite is kind of so far on the outskirts of Arizona that a lot of the stuff here is done telephonically or just done by written plea. So we have a lot of telephonic appearances in front of this judge, a lot of sort of written correspondence back and forth in the forms of motions, in the forms of plea deals, in the forms of all sorts of negotiations are taking place basically electronically. On occasion, we'll set cases to trial out there, but it's not a court that has a high volume of trials. It's just something where we're able to get most things done without having to go to trial, which is a good deal for us and for our clients. That means they're not having to come to Arizona and drive 3 hours out to Quartzsite and actually spend time in court doing a trial. Now, if it's necessary to do a trial, we'll happily do that, but most cases just simply don't go that far, just so you understand. Now, a little bit about this particular judge. Fairly reasonable judge, somebody who likes to kind of move cases along, somebody who will give the defense a fair shake in our estimation, in our opinion. She's somebody who doesn't necessarily have a bias or a tendency to lean one way or the other. We are actually able to get good results out of this court, even despite some pretty significantly high speeds. You can imagine as people are traveling across that I-10, it's pretty wide open. It's a couple lanes going both directions, and so people can get going pretty fast. We see a lot of reckless driving, a lot of criminal speeds, because people are trying to get to where they're going. It's something that I've driven many times. I'm very familiar with this roadway, and it's pretty easy to get going pretty quick. So this judge, despite some of that, despite some of the speeds, we're able to get good resolutions. We feel like it's a good place to have a case. If you happen to unfortunately be cited with a crime, you could do much worse than Quartzsite Justice Court. So if you or somebody that you know or love has been charged with a crime at a Quartzsite, give our office a call. We practice here very frequently. We know the prosecutors, we know the judge, we know many of the DPS officers who cite people out of this jurisdiction. And so we've got a lot of experience, which means we've got a lot of ability to help you make your case go away and get you a good outcome so that you're not walking around the rest of your life with a criminal conviction. Give us a call. Free case evaluations. We offer payment plans. We have a good system here to help make sure that we can make this all go away for you. So you've got nothing to lose. Give us a call. We look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks for watching.